Hi, my name is Sarah Wittenberg, and I am the Learning Specialist at Temple Beth Shalom in Needham, Massachusetts. A large part of my role is supporting educators with behaviors that may occur in the classrooms. While this piece was put into place to support particular students with behavior plans, it became apparent that most students needed support, especially in a program that takes place after a full day of school. At TBS, we call our teachers Jewish learning guides and Hebrew educators. I have worked with the Jewish learning guides and Hebrew educators to work on classroom management in ways that are individualized to allow each educator to feel comfortable implementing a system. I hope to do the same for you through this webinar. Let's start by defining some terms so that we're all starting off in the same place. Behavior management is a science devoted to the process of changing a person's behavior. It utilizes a set of techniques that decrease unwanted behaviors while increasing desirable ones. Some of the most disruptive behaviors you will see in your classrooms require a behavior plan. If you work in a supplementary setting, it's very likely that a behavior plan is in place in the child's primary education setting, and it's worth talking to the student's parents to find out. But what exactly is a behavior plan? This is a documented method that targets a specific behavior in order to change negative behaviors into positive ones. For example, a student might have a difficult time keeping his hands to himself. By rewarding the child for the times that he does keep his hands to himself, he is more likely to repeat the appropriate behavior. Positive reinforcement psychology was developed by B.F. Skinner. This approach encourages a teacher to find what the student finds rewarding and use it to help change behaviors. Sometimes this just takes some positive verbal feedback, but other times you may need to have a visual behavior plan with a more tangible reward. Rewards are also known as reinforcers, which from my experience allows educators to feel more comfortable with the term. Here's a sample of a behavior plan used with a second grader. In the picture on the left, you could see that it indicates which behaviors were being targeted. It also shows this child what reinforcer he is working for. He was able to pick one of 3 choices as a reinforcer. In the picture on the right, it shows the other 2 choices that he was given. The stars were kept on the back, and as he earned a star, they were moved to the blue pieces on the left photo under his targeted behavior. When he earned the predetermined number of stars, he earned 5 minutes of what he was working for. I want to point out a few important pieces about the plan. The first is that choices or rewards were developed with the child. The second is that while this child needed pictures and words, a similar plan can be developed with only words or only pictures. The third is that the number of stars increased from 3 to 5 over time as managing the behaviors we were working on became easier for the child. The number of behaviors being targeted also increased. Start simple with one targeted behavior and allow the child to earn their reward more easily. If the student needs to buy into the plan, feeling successful will help him or her to do so. Then you can increase expectations and make it more challenging to earn the reinforcer. Next, let's define what classroom management is so we can begin to discuss the class as a whole. Classroom management is something that all educators use. It can involve anything from routines to rules and expectations. It helps to ensure that the class runs smoothly. But what happens when that's not enough? In the next few slides, I'll be providing you with samples of classroom management systems. There are, of course, just a few samples, but they will start to get you thinking about what you would like to implement in your own classroom. On the left, you will see a jar of marbles that many people have probably seen in classrooms. This is not something new, but you can get creative with it based on the size of the container and the contents. To the right, you will see a small water bottle filled with pom-poms. You could also fill it with paper clips, candy, or anything else that you have on hand. The point is for it to be visual. You, as the educator, would add items to the container based on positive behaviors. When this container is filled, students earn the reinforcer they are working for. This system, along with many other classroom systems, allow the students to help monitor each other. When one or two students are not following the plan, other students will gently remind them that they are not doing what's expected. This is great so that it is not always coming from you, because they will start to tune your voice out if you're the only one they are hearing. However, just make sure to model the appropriate way to encourage this and monitor how students are saying it to each other. In this slide, you will notice a small incentive chart on the left. These usually come on a pad of about 50 to 100 sheets. It can be used for an individual or for a whole class. The one on the right you can see is an example of another type of incentive chart. You can have all of your students listed on one piece of paper, but working toward individual rewards. Last year, in my 7th grade class, we started with the system on the right. Every student had a small chart on a piece of paper, and it was attached to a clipboard, and I would use a pen to cross off the stars as they earned them for participation, group work, and being on task. We then transitioned to the incentive chart so that they could learn to work together toward a common goal. You should choose which one to use based on the needs of your class. Here you will see hair ties on a wrist. This can also be done with rubber bands. Just make sure they're not too tight. All of the bands start on one wrist. You can choose which one. As the students are doing what's expected of them, you will move a band from the first wrist to the other. When you've moved all of them, the class earns what they're working for. This is also a great way to create an individualized plan for a child, because you can move bands without the class noticing and what is happening. They might just think you like to fidget with the rubber bands. This next system involves technology. So if you are someone who enjoys using apps in your classroom, this might be a fun system for you. Class Dojo is a website located at classdojo.com. You could set up one class or multiple classes. I am currently showing you my account on Class Dojo. I've set up the entire K-7 faculty at Temple Beth Shalom to be one class. I've created individual accounts for each person and then put them into groups by grade. Class Dojo allows me to give points to individuals, groups, or the whole class based on the behaviors that I've chosen to target. It also allows you to take away points for unwanted behaviors. I would not recommend this option. Keep it positive. Although you could display this for the class to see, it will most likely become a distraction. If you can use it on your tablet or your smartphone, it can be just yours. You can tell the class that when they earn a certain amount of points, they will earn something for it. Class Dojo allows you to pull up data for an individual or for the class. You can also email it to parents or keep it for your own data. Intervention Central is a website that I have found to be a great resource for the past 10 years. If you click on Behavior Interventions located at the top, you'll see categories that will allow you to find what you were looking for. Now that you have some ideas and resources, how will you choose which plans to use? Make sure you choose something that works for you. This does not have to be the same thing as your colleague. If you're not comfortable with implementing the plan, then it won't work. These systems are meant to make your life easier, not create more work. Remember that when you do choose something, it should be helping the environment to improve. It should never take away from the great learning that is happening. If you're able to, it is always easiest to put a plan in place before the year starts. However, that should not scare you away from trying something new in the middle of the year. I hope that you are excited to go try something new in your classroom. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you have.